Well, by my clock, it is officially 4 o'clock, and I was taught by my predecessor, Alan Gardner, to start on time. So that's what we're going to do. So first we'd like to start with an invocation by Pastor Joe Doherty
Thank you.
from
Yes.
the Lutheran Church.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the gifts with which you have blessed us. And principally today, we thank you for the gift of communication, through which we discern your will and work towards strong and healthy communities. And we thank you for all in our communities who use their gifts to that same end, those who teach and those who protect, for those who clean and those who repair, for those who work in parks and those who work on roads, for those who plan and those who make plans happen, for those who heal and those who counsel, for those who govern and those who elect, for all who live into the best example of what it means to be a citizen. We pray also for the vulnerable in our communities, for those who are hungry, unemployed, uninsured, and those suffering from mental or physical illness. Lord, for the sake of all who live and work in this county, give the members of this council clarity of mind, creativity, compassion, integrity, and a sense of humor. Give them listening ears and thoughtful words. Give them presence of mind and open hearts. All this we pray in the confidence of your loving grace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. That was a beautiful prayer.
Thank you.
Next, we'd like to have a pledge of allegiance. We invite Bob and Carol Wood from the American Legion Post 100 to come up and lead us in the pledge. It's a pleasure to have two individuals. We usually only have one person, so it's nice to have two.
Family. Everybody, please rise. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming today, and thank you for your service also. So the first item is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a means of expediting routine matters which come before the commission for approval. The consent portion of the agenda is approved by one non-debatable motion. If any commissioner wishes to remove an item from the consent portion of the agenda, that item becomes the first order of business on the regular agenda. I don't have anything, so.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as outlined in the published and online agenda.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda is approved. The first item is the emergency service report by the Sheriff's Office. Daryl Cashman here.
He has to bring a computer. There are so many things now.
You have no clue. First of all, I want to apologize a little bit. I was at the dentist today, so this part of my mouth is still numb. Had a tooth fall out last night, so. And the second thing is the report is wrong
Okay.
because I just came from a rescue.
Oh,
So it doesn't include the last one. From September 20th to October 17th, we actually did 11 if you count the one today, which brings us to a total of 80 for the year. And approximately, throwing in today, we're about 200 and about 75 man hours in the last month. So kind of wanted to give you a little, I didn't plan on the one today, I'm telling you.
you
I was
plan
laying
on
in
any
the
of
dentist
them?
chair. Huh?
Do you plan on any of them?
Any of them? Yeah.
Some of them we know are coming,
Okay.
but I was laying in the dentist chair when I got called, so. On the 30th, we had a mountain bike crash on Bear Claw. Went out there was Gold Cross, ended up locating the gentleman. He went head over. Could not feel anything from his waist down. So Life Flight was called and he was flown out. On the 7th of this month, we had a UTV crash at Sand Mountain. That gentleman had some head injuries, was also flown by Life Flight. That was up in what they call the maze. I don't know if you've ever been in there. Again, on the 7th, stranded hikers, they were in the cliffs above Springdale. They got up there, got after dark, couldn't get down, ran out of water. So we sent them and also 2 National Park Rangers and Springdale officers assisted on that to get to these people and get them out. On the 8th, we had a mountain bike crash on Wire Mesa Trail, which is up off a Gooseberry area. That person just had a possible broken ankle. They had to carry him about 100 yards to a vehicle. It wasn't too far in. 9th, I had an overdue hiker on Red Mountain. He had texted his wife, says, I can't find my way off this thing. I'm probably going to spend the night. It was wet. It was after dark. We sent in several crews from several different directions, located him about 3.5 miles in, and got him out. Had another one where a person went down on Gooseberry. We were en route to it. It was an emergency trigger. It sent a message to his wife saying that he was down and he was hurt. We were almost there, and the guy contacted his wife and said that his Apple phone had fallen out of his bike thing and hit the ground, and it set off the trigger. So luckily we didn't have to deal with that one. That was on the 12th. Again on the 12th, later, we had a stuck 4x4 on Sand Mountain. We don't normally go after those, but in this case, the man driving it was a paraplegic, and he had 3 or 4 teenagers with him. There was no way a wrecker could get to him, so we went ahead and got him out. 14th, had an injured hiker, Snow Canyon. 39-year-old female had broken her ankle on one of the trails, so we went in. It was about a half a mile hike in. I know I did it. And it's a half a mile line of sight, so I hiked longer than that. Got her out. On the 15th, we had a rappelling accident in Snow Canyon on Island in the Sky. The gentleman bounced across the rocks and then fell about 30 feet. He was still 200 feet up, so they went up, stabilized him, and lowered him down. Yesterday, we were out on the Arizona Strip just past Glitter Mountain on an ATV accident. Gentleman flipped his ATV on top of him and his wife. She had a minor injury. He laid there for about 2.5 hours before we got to him because we had no GPS. We ended up life flighting him out. And then today, up on Wire Mesa Trail, biker crashed, possible hip injury, went in with Springdale Fire and EMS and got him out. And I just got back from that. So, any questions?
You're a busy man, and I think that with 70 years to date, you're on track to come close to what I had when I was in your position when we had over 100 one year. So
We hit that 2 years ago, and I really don't want to hit that again.
it's a pretty tough number, isn't it?
Yep.
We appreciate all that you do.
You bet, thanks.
Moving on, our second item is consider a purchase request by the Clerk Auditor's Office.
We have 2 of them today, Commissioners. The first one is for the Dixie Center, and this is for the high-density mineral bond that they put on the parking lot. And this is for repainting and parking, painting the parking stalls and the symbols that are on the parking lot out there. And the amount of it is $27,404.40, and this is a budgeted item for them. Next we have is for the St. George Convention and Tourism Office, and this is for advertising for the Utah Jazz, and this is for $22,000, and this also is a budgeted item for them.
So are we advertising for the Utah Jazz, or are we advertising Southern Utah in one of their game?
I don't know how they're using that advertising, Dean. So
My
I just know
understanding
it's
is
It's
budgeted
advertising that we're purchasing in game programs.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's all. That's everything today.
All right, thank you. I think maybe we should just mention why
that's-
Commissioner Iverson is not here.
That's a very good point. Commissioner Iverson is actually attending a conference Commissioner Iverson has taken the lead on dealing with what's called intergenerational poverty, where we see families that unfortunately get stuck in a rut and have a tough time getting out of that poverty. And so he has taken a huge initiative along with the Lieutenant Governor's office and a few others to take the lead on that to try to see if we can't help some of these families out. And so he's at a convention actually out of state, hoping to come up with a plan to help these individuals. So that's where he's at. So.
And he really wanted to try and call in, but he's on I-70, and if you've driven I-70 lately, it has terrible cell phone coverage. And
There's not a
so
lot out there.
we miss Commissioner Iverson, but we wanted to make sure that his absence was noted and excused. I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2 purchase orders for the Dixie Center and for the St. George Convention and Tourism Office, as outlined by our purchasing agent, Mark Blanche.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our third item is consideration of an update to the Washington County Employee Policies and Procedures Manual. We have our HR Director, Jonathan Little, here.
Good evening, Commissioners. The proposed change to the compensation portion of our manual is language that will bring it in line with what our current practice has been. This was something that was overlooked for a long time and addressed longevity pay that has not been a practice in the county for close
Nearly
to
10
10
years, yeah.
So
It's always good to update the policies to what we're doing.
we hope to catch these types of errors quicker than this one. If there are no questions, this, like I said, this does address current practice, which is to recognize performance that is above and beyond one's peers and at the recommendation of an employee supervisor.
Good.
Okay, thank you. I'd make a motion to approve the update to the employment policies and procedures manuals as outlined by Jonathan Little, our HR Director.
I'll second the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Third item, consideration of ordinance number 2017-1101-0, an ordinance repealing portions of the Washington County Code regarding the St. George Area Sports Commission and clarifying the County Commissioner Staff Facility Meeting of Washington County Tourism Tax Advisory Board. So I've been the chair, the commissioner that's been asked to kind of take the lead on this, and we're in the county. We always talk about trying to improve everything by 1%. We can always be 1% better, and so we started looking at this after talking to several individuals, mayors, other counties. I'm also on the Utah State Tourism Board and seeing what they're doing, and we decided to come back and make a few changes. Right now we have a tourism board, but we're going to put that directly in this ordinance. We put it directly under the commission. We expand the board by a few individuals to allow greater input and basically allow this new tourism board to take a lead on a lot of the tourism funds that come in. I also, in my opinion, it helps us follow the intent of the law closer. I believe we've been following it, but I think this kind of makes it a little bit more straightforward and outlined. And I think this will become a model for the rest of the state on how the tourism board should work. And so, of course, Eric drafted it, and I had a couple of changes when you drafted that, and I was wondering if they were
They are.
there.
So
Okay.
If you look at the bottom of page 27 on the agenda, the number is a minimum of 7 individuals.
Okay, and the commissioner will be the chairman of the board. Okay. So,
I
Commissioner Cox, or-
have followed this, and I've noted your outstanding work and research, and also that of our Deputy County Attorney, Eric Clark, has worked on this quite a bit, and I think this is going to let the accountability lie where it really lies at, and let the county commission be more closely involved in working with the board. And so I will second your motion. Have you made the motion?
Sure.
I'll make.
So moved.
I'll make the motion and I'll let you second it.
Okay.
That we pass ordinance number 2017-1101, an ordinance repealing portions of the county code regarding the St. George Area Sports Commission and clarifying that county commission staff facilitate meetings of the Washington County Tourism Tax Advisory Board.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 5, consideration of ordinance number 2017-1102-0, an ordinance rezoning a certain portion of Washington County and Pine Valley from A20, which is agriculture 20-acre minimum lot size to zone, to the A5 agriculture 5-acre minimum lot size zone, hereafter fully described in the ordinance. And I believe we have Scott, our planning department head here, and I think there's a couple of people in the audience that are here to talk on this. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, I believe so.
okay, so we'll let you go ahead and start off.
Okay. The Planning Commission met last week in their regularly scheduled meeting to review a proposed zone change.
Pull your mic down just a little closer. There you go.
Okay. Proposed zone change in the Pine Valley area. It's in the Pine Valley Meadows subdivision. There's it's an 18-lot subdivision, and there are different lots in that subdivision that have different zones. The owners of 2 of the lots, both those lots are approximately 6.5 acres in size, are currently zoned A20, which is agricultural 20-acre minimum lot size requirement. They submitted application requesting to rezone that to A5, which is agricultural 5-acre minimum lot size. And so the Planning Commission reviewed that zone change, and public hearing was held, and it was properly noticed, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of that zone change. There was a vote of 4-1 on that. Mark, the Planning Commission chair, was a nay on that vote. The findings for the motion were that the zone change and public hearing were properly held. The public hearing was held on October 10th, 2017 in the regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting. The zone change would bring the subject parcel into compliance with regards to the minimum lot size allowed in the land use zone, and the proposal is consistent with the general plan map. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Commissioner, I had an opportunity to attend all of the Planning Commission meeting and listen to the Planning Authority discuss this proposed zone change. I'd really like to express my appreciation to that body for the hard work that they do and how effectively they work to make some really tough decisions. The motion passed, as you mentioned, by a vote of 4-1, and the chair voted against it, and he stated his reason that the proposal he didn't feel was really consistent with the general plan. I've gone through and read and reread the general plan, and quite honestly, I think the general plan is, as most general plans are, rough guidelines and vague and not totally specific. However, the map in with the general plan, I think, is pretty specific. And one of the findings from the Planning Commission is that the proposal is consistent with the general plan map. In my conscience, that's not necessarily the case, and so I am not comfortable voting right now to pass it with this finding that I think is inconsistent with the map. And I understand that the plan is malleable and it can be amended and changed, but I would like to send this back to the Planning Commission and let them readdress their findings. And then if they want to send it back up to us, then do that. But I think the findings should reflect consistency with our map, and in my reading of that, it's not consistent. And so, Mr. Chairman Pro Tem, I would make a motion that we send this back to the Planning Commission and have them relook at those findings.
I can support that, so I'll go ahead and second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Does that make
Thank
sense, what we've asked to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And I know both sides are here, but I want it to be consistent and be done right.
So if the applicant's here or any party's here, Scott's the man to talk to. So, moving on to the next item, number 6, consideration resolution number R-2017-2248, a resolution approving an amendment to a service agreement between Everbridge Inc. and Washington County for mass notification services, aka Reversal 911. And Dean, this is yours.
I can speak to this. One of the tools that the county has picked up is a reverse notification system, and we're all familiar with our 911 system, in which when something is happening and we need help in a hurry, we can dial 911 and that number goes in, and it tells the dispatcher the number of the person making the call and where the call is originating from. The Everbridge system is the reverse of that. And so if we have a situation where we have a wildlands fire in any part of the county, or flooding that is impacting certain neighborhoods, or it could be, we had this in our neighborhood a few months ago, hot pursuit with the police chasing a bad guy, and he crashed his car into the wall of our chapel and then took off and disappeared down the neighborhood. And we didn't know where he was at. And so this system allows them to look at a map and use the mouse and outline any particular area that they want to notify, and then they can push a message out. In that case, the message was, lock your doors, bring your kids inside. There's a felon loose in your neighborhood, we're going to catch him. But it worked really, really well. And so that has been used regularly. In fact, even if we have people with dementia that wander off, we can notify a neighborhood and let them know and help us find that individual. The county does the contracting for this, I'll point out, but it's paid for out of our dispatch fees. And so each community in the county pays a proportionate share based on their total percentage of population in the county, and so it's very evenly distributed, and I think a very valuable tool for helping with the safety of our citizens. And so I would make a motion in support of resolution R 2017-2248, a resolution approving an amendment to a service agreement between Everbridge Inc. and Washington County for mass notification services.
So I have one question. Why doesn't St. George just do the contract if it's through dispatch?
It's historical. This whole concept came up with our 5-county initiative, where we've been working to bolster our ability to respond to emergencies. And so originally those funds and the contract were funneled through the county, because the county is the agent for the region. And when those funds dried up, this is such a valuable tool that we decided that we would continue it, but we've just renewed the contract, and this is a contract renewal, and that's why it's being done that way.
Okay.
I can just add a little, in addition to that. I was involved when this was put out to bid 4 or 5 years ago, and it was done through that 5-county group, so that we'd kind of be uniform in our backcountry areas and stuff. And so they put it out to bid, and then Pete came in and made that recommendation that this was the low bid, and that's when we went with the contract on a county basis.
Okay, just curious. All right, well, I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 7, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2249, a resolution approving vendor contracts for the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park, and we have Ron Whitehead, our Public Works Director, here to present.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Before you, you have a resolution approving the vendor contracts for the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park. We took an original draft copy from the Attorney's Office to the venues, give them a chance to look at it, review it, suggest changes, discuss any options, It was given back to the attorney's office. They have gone through and looked at those suggestions, incorporated them where they could, and explained where they couldn't, but what you have is the final version there, and we are asking you to adopt this for the venues out there.
So the venue's pretty happy with this?
Haven't heard any feedback on it yet. They haven't had it a long time. We do have a board meeting tomorrow. This calls for a 1-year agreement. So if there is some things that are of great concern in there to them, we've got a little bit of time to work that out before it's renewed. But we'll still have that contract in place that requires insurance and everything else for safe operation.
I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-2249, a resolution approving vendor contracts for the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park.
I'll second it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that comes to the end of our agenda, and meaning we can take no other legal action at this meeting. So thank you for coming, and we're adjourned until our next county commissioner.